As we discussed in the last video on this channel, the new Gumball has no acknowledgement of the void across the 20 brand new episodes that dropped this week. They do nothing to resolve that cliffhanger from 6 years ago, as creator Ben Boquelet confirmed that it all come together in the season finale, which we finally have the title for, and let me tell ya, it's a doozy. It conveys a lot about what really happened to Elmore after the events of the Inquisition, and why no one has brought up Rob or his ominous warning. So let's break it all down. And real quick, if you end up enjoying this video, then please throw it a like and subscribe to the roundtable with notifications on so you can stay in the loop with all things animation. Although I'll acknowledge that I've been on a pretty big Gumball kick lately. So Ben Boquelet and Eric Fountain were on the Nerds Rule the World podcast to discuss the brand new Wonderfully World World of Gumball series, now that it's finally making its way out into the world. And on this podcast, Ben revealed the name of the season finale, which finally gives us the answers we've been waiting for.
Ben, what is your favorite story from the upcoming series that, might differ from a story that was from the original series?
I was sort of like moved by this kind of finale we're doing, where we actually like diving into the meta aspect of what's happening to the world of Gumball, whether amazing or weird. And we ended season 6 on a cliffhanger, and we're picking it up there. And it's a really fun episode called The Rewrite, which I think does Rob some justice, and it's a character that I kind of feel for, because he's been mistreated by us, the writers, effectively, for all his life. So I thought it was nice to kind of give him like a fun new direction to take.
The Rewrite, a loaded title that absolutely has a lot to unpack. So let's start with what it means in the context of the characters and overarching story, if you want to call it that, since Gumball is 90% episodic hijinks. The word rewrite strongly implies that Rob did find a way to save Elmore by somehow rewriting reality and retconning the ending of the Inquisition, which likely debunks the theory that the characters are actually in the void, which is why the Burgers Code Open had Elmore in suspended animation, and why the intro primarily has a glitchy aesthetic.
What have they been doing to lead into this new series?
I think it was obvious from the dust that they just like stayed frozen. They were like non-animated for 6 years, weren't they? Gathering dust.
Cryostasis.
Yeah.
We can safely assume that the world getting rewritten was Rob's doing, as in my last video, I went over how Ben described the season finale as a sweet episode that does Rob a lot of justice. The show was already steering him into a redemption direction, as trying to save the world from a dark, mysterious void isn't exactly villain behavior. So it makes sense that this would finally complete his arc. As for how he saved everyone, I could see him using a new universal remote from the Awesome Store. Maybe the van got pulled into the void for causing too much chaos throughout the series, causing it to be labeled as a mistake and erased from Elmore. It's the source of most of the reality-altering objects in the series, like the remote in Sarah's notebook. It hasn't made any appearances in the new season yet, and it always felt like a mystery that was inevitably going to tie into the void stuff. That whatever's going on with this van and its shady owner is directly connected to this dimension. Imagine if the void is actually the Awesome Store's clearance section. So after Rob got swallowed up by the void tunnel that spawned in the school, he might have been able to spot the Awesome Store, think quickly on his feet, and use a new remote, or maybe even the reality-altering notebook, to seal up the hole and prevent Elmore's demise at the cost of being left behind himself. Alternatively, maybe Rob was able to somehow bargain with the void itself. It wouldn't surprise me if it has some sort of avatar that'll inevitably show up to give exposition and explain what this purgatory is all about. Rob striking a deal with the void to call off its takeover of Elmore in exchange for becoming a permanent resident of their realm. Either way, I think Gumball will learn of Rob's fate in the rewrite, and he'll hate it. He'll recognize that Rob didn't deserve all the bullshit that's happened to him. Again, this man got sent to the void, got disfigured trying to escape, became hellbent on exacting revenge on Gumball, and then after he moved on, Gumball rage baited him back into an obsessive hatred, and despite all of that, he still tried to put everything on the line to prevent the apocalypse. Even though this world wronged him, he didn't want to see anyone go through the same pain that he's endured. And now Gumball will embark on a mission of his own to rescue him, and try to deal with the void himself, only to learn that he may be out of his depth. I really want to see these two form a genuine friendship and bury the hatchet. And I feel like that's not the most ridiculous thing to ask for. Just wrap up their beef and the Void storyline so that this series can establish a new long-running mystery instead of being bound to what came before, allowing it to form more of its own identity, even if it just feels like more Gumball in the long run. This title also represents how they had to rewrite their plans for the Gumball movie after it got dropped by HBO Max and delayed indefinitely. As we all know, the Inquisition was originally supposed to go directly into the Gumball movie, which probably would have wrapped up with a universal reset that led directly into the wonderfully weird world of Gumball. But obviously, things got derailed, and now this new series is out into the world while the movie remains in limbo. I've said before that I didn't really expect to see the movie happen anytime soon. Ben Boquelet is adamant that the movie will become a reality, saying that he has a script and only refers to it as something that's temporarily delayed. He has never said that the movie was canceled.
We were developing this Gumball movie, and off the back of it was coming like Matt and Eric were gonna have this kind of like new season that they were gonna like take into their own direction in some ways. The streaming war stuff happened, and like in any war, nobody wins in it. So the movie got, I would say, delayed, but the series was still commissioned. So we decided to just kind of like go back to it.
But I imagine it'd still be a couple of years off, unless it got greenlit in secret, but it really doesn't sound like that's the case, especially since the movie getting revived would be in Hulu's hands. And while Hulu has picked up plenty of animated revivals, we have yet to see them order movies or standalone specials. The closest would be the Family Guy holiday specials, but those are just regular Halloween and Christmas themed episodes that are getting released during those proper seasons, now that Family Guy is running in the spring as opposed to the fall. It's not impossible, it just hasn't happened yet. Either way, the crew had to rearrange their plans, and instead of going from the OG series to the movie to the new series, it's the OG series, new series, then movie. Or more so, OG series, a new season or two of the new series, then the movie, then more series, assuming they keep renewing it, which I imagine they will. The numbers already seem to be pretty incredible. And Hulu is putting itself up as an empire of nostalgia, bringing back all the animated hits to satisfying results. I expect this episode to set up the movie in a much better way than the Inquisition did. The Inquisition set up the movie by ending on an abrupt cliffhanger. Yeah, it wasn't the best idea in the long run. I don't think it really worked out. But now that we have an episode dedicated to resolving that cliffhanger and setting up the future, I imagine they've learned their lesson. And this season finale will have a much more satisfying ending. Not just because we're getting the answers we deserve, but because it won't end on a spot where we're just left in the dark for years and years. The movie seems to be the most frustrating aspect about being a Gumball fan, but by the time it finally releases in like 2 to 3 years, if not longer, it'll be the most rewarding aspect about being a Gumball fan. Finally seeing this thing come to life. And I'm sure it'll be a banger. But there you have it. That's our title for the upcoming season finale of Gumball that I expect to drop in 2026, and I can't wait to finally get the answers we've been longing for. That said, I want to know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comments down below and keep the conversation going over on Twitter and Instagram at AllSharkFox and at Roundtable Vids. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, please sort of like and subscribe to the Roundtable with notifications on so you never miss a video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. Peace!